These are the scenes no one would expect in an oil exporting country. Poverty is still the main fact of life in Mauritania, a country where the discovery of oil a few years ago was a historic event. The former president, addressing the crowds in 2001, alluded to lakes of oil under their feet. International oil companies like the Australian Woodside competed to get the first exploitation rights. The poor of Mauritania began to think their misery was ending. Only 5 years ago, the expectations were so high that people here were speaking of Mauritania as the possible future Kuwait of West Africa. Today, a double drop in prices and in production have led to disappointment.
We began to dream to be the Kuwait of Africa, which we will be, but maybe we announced it much earlier than we should, partly for political reasons, partly because of the company itself.
The dream went sour. Authorities say that Woodside exaggerated the amount of oil so that their share price would inflate. They made their profit on the stock market and then left. Mauritania made a fraction of what they were expecting. Woodside refused to comment.
Because their intention was not to stay, they wanted to sell the shares at the highest price and walk away. So their studies were hasty and their practices were flawed.
From 73,000 barrels a day, production dropped to only 17,000 now. The low price per barrel does not help the country make money, but it does help them buy the oil reserves they needed from other countries.
Our oil imports are much higher than our oil production and its benefits. Suppose we get $75,000 per year from our oil exports. This amount is much less than the $300 million we spend annually to import refined oil.
For Mauritanians, oil wealth is still an unattainable dream.
It's obvious that oil doesn't exist in reality in the amounts described by our authorities.
We didn't see the benefits of oil. We're impatiently waiting for it to get us out of this state of unemployment and want.
However, the picture is not so bleak in the eyes of the authorities. Malaysian Petronas has taken over from Woodside. French Total is exploring big chunks of the desert area. Up to 30 companies are requesting exploration rights in the desert of Taudani and the offshore Atlantic basin. With up to 1 billion barrels of oil reserves in the latest estimates, Mauritania is not comparable to Kuwait, but it ranks 39th on the list of the world's over 88 oil-producing countries. Mohamed Vall, Al Jazeera, Nouakchott, Mauritania.